Emma nervously clutched the worn key, its coldness seeping into her palm. She could hear the faint tick-tock of the grandfather clock downstairs in the hall, counting down the seconds to when she'd need to leave. Up here in the attic, though, surrounded by cobwebs and chipped porcelain dolls, she had an hour left. An hour before she had to become the poised and proper young lady she was expected to be. The air was thick with dust motes, dancing in the weak rays of sunlight that slanted through the grimy attic window. Beneath that window was a trunk, a big, old wooden chest tied with a faded red ribbon. All week, Emma had been sorting through boxers in the attic, clearing out her late grandmother's house. Most of the items were boring: Mothitan fur coats, stacks of ancient magazines, a rotary dial phone that looked like something from the Victorian era, but she had almost skipped over the trunk because it looked so ordinary. Then she remembered the stories her mother used to tell about this house. Stories filled with secrets and half-truths that now seemed more intriguing than she had thought at the time, like the one about the attic window that was always locked, or how her grandmother had abruptly left the house after living here for decades. And what about the mystery of Anna, the girl her grandmother had loved? Her mother had mentioned her often, a bittersweet ache in her voice every time. Emma slowly untied the ribbon. Now or never? She lifted the lid of the trunk, and inside, nestled among layers of tissue paper, she found a box. Smaller, intricately carved, tied with a silken cord. Pulling open the lid, she discovered dozens of letters, folded and tied with a string. The handwriting was elegant, looping across the crisp, yellowed paper. The first one she read began with, "My dearest Anna, if the world knew how I feel about you, they would never understand. But when you smiled at me yesterday, I felt braver than I ever have in my life." Emma's heart skipped a beat. These weren't just letters. They were love letters, written by her grandmother, addressed to someone named Anna. For the next few hours, Emma sat cross-legged in the dusty attic, reading them one by one. Each letter was a precious gem, sparkling with emotion, the love between the two women jumping off the page. The early letters were filled with stolen moments under the shade of the old oak tree by the river, whispered promises during summer evenings, and secret touches in the hayloft. In one, Emma as grandmother wrote of hearing Anna's laugh and feeling the sun warm her skin as she helped gather wildflowers. And another, Emma imagined her grandmother sitting in a rocking chair on the porch, swaying gently while Anna sang songs from musicals, but the later letters grew heavier. Lines like "They want Tila may be with you and Akoina Goa against my family esquishes and if only the world could see what my heart already knows." In one heartbreaking note, Emma's grandmother wrote, "My darling, they want me to marry. They won't stop until I do, but please believe me, I love you, only you. If only the world were different." The unfinished sentence echoed the sentiment of many of the letters. There was a deep longing for something impossible, something that could never be. The last letter, the final one in the stack, tore through Emma like a shard of glass. "Anna, I can't fight them anymore. Tomorrow I will walk down the aisle, but my heart will always belong to you. Forgive me, my love." Tears blurred Emma's vision. She couldn't stop imagining her grandmother's pain, forced to give up her true love, forced to silence her truth. The following morning, after rereading the letters for what felt like the 100th time, Emma decided to find out more. She needed answers. So she set out, to uncover the rest of the story. After asking around town, Emma learned that the house near the river was still there, completely overgrown now, though swallowed by weeds and ivy, just like her grandmother's heart. Emma, unable to resist the pull of the past, walked down to the river that afternoon. She walked right past the familiar White House. It was barely visible behind the wall of vegetation. She turned toward the woods when she heard a twig snap. She spun around to see a woman standing by the path. The woman had dark hair streaked with silver, eyes that twinkled with kindness, and a warm smile that reached all the way to those kind eyes. "You're looking for this house, aren't you?" she asked. Emma nodded, surprised that she knew. "Come," the woman said, extending her hand. "Let me show you something." The two women walked side by side along the winding path. Soon the trees opened up to reveal a clearing, and there it was, the house where Anna lived. The woman pointed toward the porch swing. "That's where you'll find your answers," she said, "and don't worry, you're not late. Some stories never truly end." The older woman turned to leave. "Wait," Emma called out. "What's your name? How did you know about this place?" The woman paused. "Call me Willow. As for that," she said, glancing back at the house, "let's just say I have a knack for knowing things." With that enigmatic answer, she disappeared into the trees. Standing on the creaking porch, Emma felt a strange sense of familiarity wash over her. It was as if the very air around her was whispering forgotten memories. On the mantel, beneath a cracked frame of glass, rested a photograph. Taking a deep breath, she picked it up. It was two young women, laughing, their arms wrapped around each other. One of them was her grandmother. The other Emma had never seen before, but there was something about her face, the tilt of her head, the sparkle in her eye, that tugged at Emma's heartstrings. The missing piece of the puzzle clicked into place. This must be Anna. Suddenly, Emma understood why her grandmother had come to spend so much time here, why she had left the house behind, and why she had never forgotten. Emma carefully placed the photograph back onto the mantel. She was no closer to understanding what had happened all those years ago. Why had her grandmother given up her love for Anna? Why had Anna never reached out to her? But she knew that these questions were less important than the story itself. The story of a love that had bloomed in the most unlikely of places and endured through the test of time. Walking back to the car, Emma clutched the box containing the love letters like a treasure. She had stumbled upon a part of her grandmother's life that had been hidden for so many years. She had unearthed a love story that deserved to be told. Later that week, Emma returned to the house with a notebook in tow. Sitting in her grandmother's old rocking chair, she began rewriting the letters, carefully copying every word, every stroke of the pen, etching the story of two lovers deeper into her memory. But she also began writing something new, a continuation of the story. She wrote about stolen glances across crowded rooms and shy smiles exchanged over cups of coffee. She wrote about quiet mornings, reading poetry aloud, and evenings filled with the soft glow of candlelight. It was a story about Anna and her grandmother, a story about a love that had bloomed in secrecy and now blossomed in the light of day. As she wrote, Emma realized that the love letters hadn't just been a means of preserving the past. They had become a catalyst for her own growth. They had shown her the strength and resilience of the human spirit, the unwavering power of love in the face of adversity. And then, unexpectedly, the story took another turn. While sipping her coffee at the local cafe, Emma noticed a woman watching her. She had dark hair, a gentle smile, and curious eyes. Her name was Claire, and as Emma shared her tale, she saw a reflection of her own journey in Claire's tear-filled gaze. Over the coming weeks, Emma and Claire spent countless hours together, poring over old photographs, researching their family histories, and talking about everything and nothing. In the quiet moments, their hands would brush across the table, sending shivers down Emma's spine. Their laughter echoed in the empty halls of Emma's grandmother's house. Their goodbyes were hesitant, their whispers lingering, and one evening, beneath the same oak tree where her grandmother had once written her love, Emma found the courage to whisper, "I don't want to hide anymore." Claire smiled, her eyes shining with understanding. "Then don't," she said softly. Their kiss was tentative at first, but soon deepened. It was a kiss that spoke of generations of love, loss, and ultimately hope. When Emma placed the box back in the attic, it was no longer just a collection of love letters. It had become a beacon guiding her towards her own happily ever after. The love that had been hidden in the shadows had finally stepped into the light. The story wasn't over. It had just begun.